Hello everyone and welcome to Flickering Myth, an extension of the website flickeringmyth.com. My name's EJ Marino and today we have a brand new review of the film The Nightingale. I haven't seen a movie as heavy and as depressing as The Nightingale in a very long time. While this is a great movie, I think it's well filmed, well acted, with an amazing story. It's a hard viewing. This is one of those movies that I don't know how to recommend to family or friends or even you guys, because it's like, I don't want anyone to sit through this depressing ass movie. It's still great. Director Jennifer Kett does a great job filming everything. She's a talented director, but much like her debut film, The Babadook, I'm just like, how do I tell someone to watch a movie that's this stressful, that's this upsetting? All of that aside, The Nightingale is one of the better movies I have seen this year. This Australian film is a tough viewing about a woman who has lost her husband and her baby and goes through the 1800s Tasmanian woodside to seek revenge. If you like anything I just said, you are going to be very into this, because this is a crazy, awesome throwback to those revenge films, those kind of rape and revenge films from the 70s. You know, those like exploitation films like I Spit on Your Grave and The Last House on the Left. While not as graphic and as gross as those movies, this movie does kind of teeter that line. It does have that revenge 70s grindhouse feeling with such a prestige outlook to it. This has such a good visual and style to it. It feels like a lot of indie movies. It feels like a lot of art house movies I see, but with that grungy story, with that rough and tough story in the middle. It's such an interesting dichotomy. Having such a pretty looking movie with such a rough story, I think those two blended together and made some of the beautiful scenes kind of scary, and it made some of those scary, brutal moments kind of beautiful to watch. It's such an interesting feeling, and I love that The Nightingale made me feel that. Something that I think The Nightingale does very well is make you almost scared of happiness. Anytime a character would be happy, or anytime we got a moment of levity, the second I started like letting my guard down and breathing, something dramatic would happen and scare you out of that. And I love that this movie, every time I felt happy or felt levity, I just went, oh no, why am I feeling this? Because I'm just going to hurt myself by getting happy. And that's something that happens to the characters in the movie, and that's something that they translate so well to the viewers. Again, this movie's so hard to recommend because it's a tough viewing. It's not fun by any means, but if you're into cinema like this, this is right up your alley. I can only compare this to something like Martyrs, the French horror film from 2008, that really just draining, that physically exhausting movie, and that's what this made me feel. I walked out of it just going, I need a moment. And then of course I double feature this with It Chapter 2, which is a long, draining movie as well. I was just exhausted. That's why it took me so long to do this review, because I had to group myself after watching The Nightingale and It back to back. With all of the positive things to say about this movie, one of my favorite things is the acting. The actress who played Clare and the actor who played Billy gave me everything. I just felt every emotion, the happiness, the sadness. They let me feel it with their acting, with the physicality, with their face expressions. There's so much in this performance that's so demanding, and you feel that. And I just want to thank the actors for going that extra mile to make everything feel believable, to make it feel real. I mean, the moment Claire stops calling Billy boy and actually says his name, I felt that. That was such a moment of bonding between these two. While I don't love all of her interactions with him, she definitely comes off very privileged to his story when she's just like, oh, this people did genocide to your land? Well, look at me. I've had this, this, and this. And it's like, don't compare trauma. Everything sucks. And I like that this movie was here. It showed you two different people who have had horribly different walks of lives, but still have similar struggles, and they meet in the middle. You kind of find a common enemy, and I like that. I like that this movie made me think. It challenged me, and most movies this year haven't been this challenging, and at least this rewarding by challenging me. Usually when movies try to push you to the limit like this, they don't have a satisfying ending, but this has a satisfying ending. As much as it's not a typical happy ending, it gives me something that I'm like, you put me through all of that, but I left with this feeling, and thank you for that. Honestly, most movies don't even give you that benefit. That is it for my review of The Nightingale. What did you think of this review? What do you think of this movie? Like I said, this is hard to recommend, but if you like extreme cinema, if you want to be challenged by a movie, you have to check this out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys comment down below and subscribe to Flickering Myth, because we make videos like this every single week, and give us a thumbs up because YouTube takes those way too seriously. Alright guys, let's talk about The Nightingale below.